The winner of this year's DW Freedom of Speech Award is Hong Kong media magnate and freedom campaigner Jimmy Lai. The 78-year-old is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence after being found guilty under Chinese national security laws of activities that the government in Beijing classifies as subversive, separatist, terrorist or colluding with foreign forces. The award's intended to honour individuals or initiatives deemed to have shown exceptional courage and commitment in defending freedom of expression, press freedom and human rights.
Jimmy Lai believes information can set people free. A media mogul and one of Hong Kong's most prominent champions of democracy, he spent decades speaking out even as Beijing tightened its grip, taking on the Chinese Communist Party in a way no other member of the city's elite dared. And, like the city he so loves, he's now been silenced, locked away, most likely for the rest of his life.
And it's incredibly heartbreaking because all of this is, all of this is a punishment because he decided to stand up for what is right, to campaign for democracy and freedom, and to defend press freedom and defend his colleagues.
Jimmy Lai's story is very much Hong Kong's own story. He fled Mao's China as a boy and made his fortune in the fashion industry as Hong Kong boomed. But he saw that the city's fragile freedom and democracy needed a voice. His newspaper, Apple Daily, became that voice.
It was this crazy mixture of investigative reporting, stock market tips, paparazzi scandal, and an unremitting focus on freedom. Free people, free markets.
It was everything that made Hong Kong different from mainland China, but speaking out made him a target. He was accused of colluding with foreign forces against the Chinese government. As Beijing crushed the 2019 pro-democracy protests, his newsroom was raided, him and his editors jailed, Apple Daily shut down. A landmark trial followed, and Lai was sentenced to 20 years in prison. As a British passport holder, he had every chance to leave Hong Kong, but he refused.
I will sink with the ship because this place gave me everything. I'm in debt to this place. I'm very grateful for what this place has given me.
Jimmy Lai isn't just a publisher. He showed up in the rain, on the streets, standing shoulder to shoulder with the tens of thousands who believed Hong Kong could be better. It's a belief he is now paying for with his freedom.
DW's Director General, Barbara Massing, explained why Jimmy Lai had been chosen.
Jimmy Lai has stood unwaveringly for press freedom in Hong Kong at great personal risk, even as space for independent journalism became increasingly limited. With Apple Daily, he gave journalists a platform for free reporting and a voice to the democracy movement in Hong Kong. In early 2026, a Hong Kong court sentenced Jimmy Lai to 20 years in prison. Basically a life sentence due to his age of 78. With the DW Freedom of Speech Award, we want to shed a light on his situation and showcase his outstanding commitment to press freedom, as well as his dedication to democratic values.
And
his commitment reminds us that press freedom is never a given. It must be constantly defended.
And is it his trial you condemn or the severity of his sentence?
Actually, first of all, we condemn the situation of the press freedom in Hong Kong because it was declining during the last years really seriously. And we also see this regarding censorship and the lack of free media. Also, DW is blocked in Hong Kong and in China for many years right now. So Jimmy Lai should not have been facing trial for just doing his job in the first place. This is why we also choose Jimmy Lai, because he stood very firmly with the freedom of press. He gave journalists a platform with his Apple Daily newspaper and then digital media. And I think it's really impressive that he even took these personal risks who brought him into jail. And this is why we honor Jimmy Lai this year with the DW Freedom of Speech Award.
And what has Jimmy Lai's family said about receiving the award?
Well, his family is very honored and very happy about the fact that Jimmy Lai is going to receive the DW Freedom of Speech Award this year. They're grateful, and even if it's really difficult to forward messages into the prison, but for Jimmy Lai, it's really important to remain remembered and to remain also talked about his case in public, because this is helping a lot.
And what difference do you hope that this award will make?
Well, we see that it was published today that it's the first time in history that more than half of the countries in the world, regarding the facts of Reporters Without Borders, that more than half of the countries, the situation of the freedom of the press is difficult or very serious. So I think what is really important with the DW Freedom of Speech Award is to spot a light to the situation of the freedom of press, but also to the situation of journalists. And it is always an example of journalists working in a very, very difficult environment and under very difficult circumstances. And it's like an example for the whole situation of freedom in the press worldwide. And it's the same case for some of our DW colleagues, because right now we also have 2 colleagues who are in prison for just doing what they do, for doing the job, reporting fact-based about what is happening.